We are in the fourth industrial revolution and there are emerging economies. Did you know that by 2030, 85% of the jobs that we have now are going to be radically changed because of these emerging economies? Now, I get asked all the time, what are the emerging economies? So glad you asked. We all know artificial intelligence is here, it's here to stay, it's disrupting every industry. 3D printing, same kind of thing. Couple that with the precision economy. We also have robotics. All of these things are really changing how we work and how we think about work. And then the empath economy. The empath economy is anything to do with how people are touched physically, emotionally, or spiritually. So counselors, pastors, physical therapists, chiropractors, the medical field, although that's being really disrupted by AI, the precision economy, and robotics. So anything empath as well. Now, I think one of the best things you can do to equip your student or your child as we're going into this, or we are in the fourth industrial revolution, but as we live and work and launch our kids into this disrupted world, one of the best things you can do to equip your kids, no matter how old they are, is to teach them critical thinking skills. Now, take the age of your child now, add 5 years. That's where they're going to be by 2030 when 85% of our jobs are disrupted. So just think, are they going to be 12? Are they going to be 17? Are they going to be 22? And how do you equip them? I think some of the best things we can do for our kids is teach them how to think critically and how to solve problems and discover patterns. Some easy ways to do that are by doing puzzles and playing board games with your kids. I would say they're low cost, but puzzles and board games are not cheap. But you can get the 40% coupon off at Hobby Lobby to go get yourself a puzzle. You can share puzzles. You can do a puzzle and game night with your co-op or however you want to work it. But board games are also a great way to teach critical thinking skills. They could be simple board games. They could be card games. Bring back the card game. You can learn a lot of logic by playing some of the higher skill-based card games. I think too, most of our kids absolutely need to take logic classes and informal logic with fallacies, helping your kids understand what is a red herring, what is the hominid fallacy, et cetera, helping them understand fallacies and being able to pick them out. Now, once you equip your kids with that skill, they're going to pick out all your fallacies, but it's a small price to pay for the critical thinking skills that it's going to develop in your kids. And then move from informal to formal logic, because formal logic is such a great thinking tool, and it's a difficult one. Your kids really have to bring their brain to the problem solving ability of formal logic. I think formal logic is best taught after like 8th grade. If they're ready for algebra, they're ready for formal logic because it's abstract thinking and critical thinking, and they're honing what abstract thinking is. So formal logic as well. I think foreign language study is a great way to build critical thinking skills, because if you understand a foreign language, even at the rudimentary level, you understand that there's a different culture and different ways of looking and thinking about the world. And it's that out of the box kind of critical thinking that is developed in the study of foreign language. I love starting with Latin from like 5th grade on up. I think a lot of kids, most kids, all kids, and I want to be really bold about it, should take 2 years of Latin. Get through Latin 1 and 2. We use the forms at True North. It's a phenomenal program. Sarah Greaves is a phenomenal Latinist and a great Latin teacher. And what Latin does for kids, if they're taking it earlier, they don't realize that it's so hard, right? And it's a lot of puzzle to solve when you're studying Latin. You've got vocabulary, you've got grammar, you've got declensions and conjugations and culture. And so there's a lot that goes into it. Once they learn Latin, move into a modern foreign language. I think that's a great way to just continue to build their critical thinking skills and muscle in their brain. And then don't overlook science classes. Take some formal science classes with actual scientists if they need to. I think every kid should, because they're learning critical thinking skills with that. And the scientific method is such a great tool to develop critical thinking skills, because it teaches you how to form a hypothesis, how to test a hypothesis, how to fail well, how to go back and modify, and how to try it all again. So scientific method, phenomenal. And how to write a good lab report, because it's attention to detail. And critical thinking is attention to detail. Also, a solid English class or two or five or 10. And if you don't feel confident about teaching English to your kids, outsource that to True North, obviously. Outsource it to a trusted provider because English is such a great critical thinking tool. If you can write well, it means you're thinking well. And if you can think well and write well, it means you can speak well. So English, don't overlook it. Communication skills are the number one skills our employers are looking for in new hires. And a good solid English class will teach kids the form and structure of good writing, as well as stylistic techniques like tropes, like alliteration, figures of speech. Yeah, alliteration is just one figure of speech, but it'll teach them tropes and figures of speech as well. And so a good solid English class. Listen, your kids need feedback. So if you don't know how to grade an English paper, outsource it to True North. That's one of the services that we provide. We give you a syllabus, we give you assignments, and we do the grading for you. And so if your kids are practicing poor writing and they don't ever have a feedback loop that says, this is incorrect or poor writing, here's how to write really correct or really engaging writing, they're going to just keep practicing the poor writing that they're doing. History and geography are so important to develop critical thinking skills because it gives kids a sense of their time and place in history, what happened before them. You can project what's going to happen in the future, and having a timeline, again, it orients everybody to time and place. I talked about this a couple days ago in the Facebook Live I did about the importance of geography studies, especially with what's going on in the news. If you don't understand geography, how on earth are you going to understand world events and politics and why we still have this war in the Middle East after all these decades, basically hundreds and thousands of years of conflict? So understanding history and geography is so very important to being able to critically think about the current events, what's happening in the world, and our place in the world. Math, obviously, not to be overlooked. I get this question all the time, like, my kid doesn't love math, and so we're almost done with Algebra 2. We just want to quit it. What other math can we do? Listen, we live in a really STEM-oriented world, and the farther your kids can go with math, the more they're building their critical thinking muscle and the more higher ability they'll have. Now, most of our kids are going to have between 12 and 15 jobs over the course of their vocational life because jobs are changing really quickly. They need to be able to pivot quickly. And the more math and the more science, hard sciences that they have under their belt, the more ability they'll be able to pivot into jobs that might not even be created yet. And that's the deal. Our kids are going to be working in jobs that are not yet created. And so we have to give them the tools they need to be able to transfer into those jobs, to be able to pivot quickly. 2020 was just a preview of the vocational world in which our kids are going to live and work. So we need to give them these critical thinking skills. We need to build those tools and that muscle and really equip them well. If you're wondering, how on earth do I make this all happen? Please go to our advising tab at truenorthhomeschool.academy. Click on the advising tab. You can scroll down to advising. It's a free 15-minute consult with one of our advisors, and we love to talk to you about where you're at with your homeschooling adventure, where your kiddo wants to go, and how to best get you there. And if you want a full hour of academic advising, you can click on the tab or the button there for that too. But you can take all of these classes at True North Academy. We're working really hard to make sure that the kids who come into our classes, they start at a certain point and they're fully equipped to have other transferable skills when they leave our classes. That is a mandate of what we're doing at True North Academy. We don't want to just take your money and say, okay, you got a biology credit, you got an algebra credit, you got a logic credit, and your kids really don't have a clue what they're doing at the end of the class. We are doing pre-tests, we're teaching the kids during the year, and then we're doing a post-test. And our classes are not just coming in, listening to a boring lecture with a talking head on Zoom, and then they get tested. These classes are dynamic and interactive. They're engaging with the other students and the teacher. We are doing a variety of assessments, not just quizzes and tests, but projects, papers, presentations, because we, again, want to build actual real-world skills for our kids. So if they're required to do a presentation for class, we're teaching them what goes into a really quality presentation. Not only are they learning the subject matter, but again, transferable skills. I know for Beth Purcell's English classes, the kids are always creating a digital portfolio for that class. And so these are things that your kids can take with them, not just the transcript and the grade report that they get at the end of the semester and the end of the year, but something to show admissions officers at colleges, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if you're really looking for a cutting edge way to hack through the noise and really set your kids up for success for the future, you have got to check out our dual degree program at True North Academy. I've said it before, my husband and I have 5 graduate degrees between us, 5 kids, 5 graduate degrees. And so I have lived and worked in the field of academia for decades, literally my entire adult life. And the reason why we have brought the dual degree program to True North is because the state of higher education in America is literally a disrupted disaster. And if you don't believe me, go to the Wall Street Journal and other reporting agencies and find out what they're saying. Colleges and universities are closing around the country. They're not providing quality academics. Kids are graduating with $37,000 to $100,000 in debt. It's taking them 4 to 6 years to even graduate. But more than that, over half of the kids who enter college drop out. So many of us as homeschoolers, we're spending all of our kids' high school career getting them college ready. But our program allows your kids to be college done. So when they graduate from high school with an accredited high school diploma, they're also graduating from an accredited college. They'll get a transcript and they'll get a diploma from an accredited college. We are working with these colleges because they see the handwriting on the wall and they're looking for students who want to do the work and graduate with a solid degree. And that's what we're offering at True North. So we're offering psychology, interdisciplinary studies, business admin, and business. We are honored to bring this program to your students. It's for pennies on the dollar. So your kids can get through a college degree, graduate when they're 18 or 19, have no debt, go on to apply to college, start their own business, buy a house, go to graduate school with no debt. They're years ahead of their peers. Not only that, they're entering the workforce in their late teens, early 20s, instead of mid 20s or later with tens of thousands of dollars of debt. So at True North, we are really looking towards education for the future, how to equip your kids for the future. Because if we're just putting in time, why? It's such a waste. Now, when I wrote my master's thesis on the history of education in America, there was very little literature on homeschooling and alternative education, but John Holt was one of the few authors, and I've read everything by John Holt. I used to call myself a classical unschooler because I really feel like the best way to educate your kids is personalized. It's outside of a traditional government school system and really understanding who that person is and what they're going to do after their formal education is over. And we've really incorporated those elements into True North Academy because we really want to deal with the individual. That's part of our mandate. That's why we keep our class sizes small. We can make a lot more money if we just had the kids enter into class, they never saw the other students, the teacher never talked or interacted with them, and the teacher just sat there and yapped at them like I'm doing right now. Believe me, we could make a lot more money. But we are about education first. We are about equipping students, inspiring parents, equipping students, and launching leaders. We want our kids to be future ready. If you're excited about that idea and you want to learn more, just shoot me a DM, head on over to the website, truenorthhomeschool.academy, and say, hey, I want to talk to an advisor about your classes or programs or the dual degree. We'll jump on a Zoom call with you. We'd love to chat with you. Classes are filling for fall. We've closed several of them. Some of them we've been able to open second sections of, but there's no guarantee. So if you know you want a specific teacher or class or day or time, you need to get that order in sooner than later. Once July hits, it's going to be fast and furious. We know that because that's what happens every single year. This year, we're fully Cognia accredited. Woohoo! You can see right there, there is our little certification from Cognia, and we're ESA approved for so many states. So super excited about that. We don't want you to miss out. There's a place for you at True North Academy. We're honored to come alongside of you as you educate your kids. Let me know if you have any questions. I would love to talk to you.